Aloha boys and girls, welcome back to yet again another video, and here today we are going to be talking about the MLG World Finals pools. The group play, it's been announced actually on the ESR today for me, probably tomorrow for you. Like I'll upload it tomorrow for me, but it'll actually be today for you. But they announced the pools today for me, but yesterday for you. Yep. We're going to be going over all the pools. I actually have kind of a little bit of footage from the ESR, kind of go over all the pools, all the groups heading into the MLG World Finals, which I'm really stoked for it, to be honest. Like, you know, I know the AW is kind of coming down to the end. Everyone's getting really tired of the game, and I am as well. I've been tired of it for a while. But this is just, like, awesome. Like, it's just, there's one event that's kind of remaining. It's one of the biggest events of the entire year, and it's finally here, and I've been looking forward to it. I'm going to be going to it, like I said, and at this tournament, we focus on Black Ops 3, which is, like, almost, I think it's, like, 5 days away from being a month away, which is, like, insane how fast it's coming. And I've been watching a lot of Black Ops 2 VODs. I've been watching a lot of Optic Scump's live comps, which I absolutely loved when he did those. But watching a lot of old tournaments, even watching a little bit of Ghosts VODs as well, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So I'm really looking forward to Black Ops 3 coming out very soon. But like I said, we do have one final tournament. I think we can do it. You know, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, but I think we can do this. We got one tournament left. It's gonna be a great time, and you know, these groups are just going to kind of lay everything out. So my first primary goal is to not make this video super long. Like, I don't want to have this video just be informative, and I don't want to like give a crazy amount of information, because like I just want to give the info, get out. That's kind of my goal right now, is just to give you guys the info, talk a little bit about it, because this isn't my predictions. These aren't my predictions for the Worlds. I just wanted to give you guys the info that the groups are actually already out there, you know, like a couple weeks in advance. So just letting you guys know that we're going to be going over the pools, have a little bit of, I wouldn't say gameplay, but a little bit of video from the ESR, how they did everything, because it was kind of cool. I gotta admit, it's kind of cool how they did it. So I'm just reading you guys a little bit of the tournament format, a couple pages of this. The first thing says, the tournament will support as many as 112 teams, 16 teams start in pool play, 96 teams start in the open bracket. When 4 teams remain in open winners bracket, they will be placed in pool play. When 4 teams remain in an open losers bracket, they will be placed in championship bracket losers round 1. So basically, same thing as a UMG type of style bracket. You know, 4 teams make it from the open bracket. Those 4 teams get placed in the regular pools, and you know, kind of how it works after you get to the open losers bracket as well. Next thing, I just coughed really, like, majorly, and I don't know what just happened. Okay, so all pool play and championship losers bracket matches are best of 5 games. All championship winners and grand final matches are best of 7 games, which I personally really like. So all regular matches will be best of 5s. Once we get to the grand finals and also the championship winners, so the championship winners is basically like whoever makes it from winners to go to the winners bracket or to the grand finals, that will be a best of 7, and the actual grand finals will be a best of 7 to close this out on, which I'm really looking forward to. Can my phone please not go off right now? And obviously at the bottom it does say total prize pool being $250,000. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money on the line, and I'm really looking forward to it. So this is how they actually drew everything, how the groups were actually placed. It wasn't randomized, or they didn't tell us. Like, it wasn't like they did not tell us how the groups were placed. They actually did it live on stream. So the draw explanation: teams will be drafted from 4 tiers into groups. Each group will consist of one team from each tier. Tier 1, teams 1 through 4 in the NA. Tier 2, teams 5 through 8 in the NA. Tier 3, teams 9 through 12 from the NA. And Tier 4 are teams 13 through 16 from the international type of playlist. Now I'm actually filing through the tiers. Alright, I'm at the tiers. I found the tiers, so we're going to be going over each tier, how everyone was kind of placed. So the first tier is going to be consisting of Optic Gaming, FaZe Clan, Denial, and Elevate. So these teams automatically kind of get placed in each pool. Optic going to be in the Pool A, FaZe in Pool B, Denial in Pool C, and Elevate in Pool D. Next tier we have is actually going to be Team Envy, TK, Optic Nation, and Epsilon, so a pretty good lineup there as well. In Tier 3, we have Orbit, Rise Nation, Isolation Empire, and XGN. And our final tier, basically the, you know, I wouldn't say like the foreign one, but, you know, we have one, you know, Australian team, and we also have 3 European teams. First team, Infused, then we have Citadel, Vitality Storm, as well as Millennium. So we got a lot of really good teams in this, and now we're gonna kind of go over all of the things that went down in these groups live. Alright, so as you guys can see here, we have the MLG World Finals group show at the top. That's kind of how it was labeled. It's a really cool show, have to admit. Really major props to MLG, how they did everything. So this was actually drawn random. I'm probably showing a video on the screen right now. I hate to like word it like this, but they have like little balls in like a bowl, and they pick random ones out. If you guys watch the League of Legends World Finals type thing that did the exact same thing. A lot of the major esports do this same style, so it's automatically random. No one knows how the drawing is going to work, but they're going to make sure like Optic and FaZe, Denial aren't in the same pool either, because that would be kind of unfortunate to see, you know, one of those teams get out early. So like I mentioned, A, B, C, and D, 4 groups. We're going to have 4 teams in each group, and then obviously we'll have the extra 4 teams from the open bracket placed randomly in each pool as well. So with that, obviously we do have Pool A, who would be drawn from Tier 2. We're just going to go Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. Tier 2, who would be going inside of Group A along with Optic Gaming? Well, unfortunately, it would be for the TK fam, or for the TK fam. What does that mean? I don't know. For TK all day, they would actually be placed in Optic Gaming's bracket now, or in their pool. And this automatically kind of got me a little bit nervous. I tweeted out TK curse because they always get put in really difficult brackets. We'll see how they do, but that automatically eliminates the first team from Tier 2. Next team we have heading into this next group, which actually be Group B, along with FaZe from Tier 2, was actually Optic Nation. Now this is kind of, it's hard to predict. Obviously, you only have one team, left. You have Tier 3 and Tier 4 still to come. So, being an Optic in FaZe's bracket is definitely not what you want to be in, because they're basically already guaranteed a spot. It's all about the teams that come next. That's exactly how TK and ON have to kind of take this one. So, we have 2 final teams in Tier 2. Who would be going to Denials and who would be going to Elevate? Well, Epsilon would be drawn for Group C, and in Group D, it would be that new Envious squad. Now, kind of going over the new lineups, TK actually has Apathy in place of Nameless. Optic Nation now has Nameless instead of Mochilla. And for those who, if anyone wants to watch my Roster Mania videos, I will link a full recap, which I did not too long ago, in the description. It is still basically, I think it's still up to date for the most part. I think MW picked up a new team, but besides that, everything else is spot on good. Next team we have is obviously going to be Epsilon in Group C along with Denial. They made a change, getting rid of Royalty and adding in Aqua, and Envy actually lost both Octane and Aqua and gained Gunjar and Jerd from TCM. So they have a pretty good team. It's not the best by any means, but they're in a pretty good pool alongside of Elevate. So after the first tier, we have Group A consisting of Optic Gaming and Team Caliber. In Group B, we have FaZe and Optic Nation. In Group C, we have Denial and Epsilon. And in Group D, we have Elevate and Envy. Now, off the break, honestly, you could say that Group C is probably a little bit of the harder one. Group C, obviously, a very good team in Denial, and Epsilon has shown some insane surprises throughout the past couple of tournaments. As well being Season 3 playoffs, as well as Dallas, in the past beating OG and FaZe and Elevate and, Denial. All the major teams they've basically beaten in the final tournament, except for, I think, OG. But still, pretty good lineup so far. We're going to be heading into the next tier: Orbit, Rise Nation, ISO, and XGN, who would be placed alongside OG and TK in this, in this pool. That would actually be XGN. Now, this is kind of a blessing and also a curse. There's been rumors that Merc is joining alongside XGN. There's been a lot of problems with this team, and for them to be in a pool with OG and a pretty streaky TK team, who I think got better through Roster Mania, this might not be good for them. Honestly, I think the easiest group for right now that we've seen so far is probably Group D, and maybe arguably Group B for Optic Nation's recent performance. I would probably rather play ON over TK, but we'll see how it works out. So XGN being placed alongside OG and TK in Pool A. The next pick, from Tier 3 that we have was actually ISO. So ISO gets put in Group B. This is bad news for Optic Nation. You can also argue this might be bad news for FaZe. At DC, I believe ISO ended up outing FaZe and beating them very early on in the losers bracket and whatnot. So they have a little bit of chemistry in the past. We'll see how FaZe does. I'm still feeling pretty confident about FaZe moving out, but ISO and ON easily could go, honestly, in ISO's favor. If ON plays a little bit better, which they haven't really been playing that way on the online league, we could easily see FaZe and ISO out. But we still have more teams to announce, but we got to move on into our next group, which is Group C. Who would Group C be getting alongside of Denial and Epsilon? Will actually be Rise Nation. So this pool gets a little bit harder. To be honest, I think the 2 best teams out of Tier 3 were probably Rise and ISO. It could be Orbit. XGen could pull something crazy out, but Group C has a lot of really good teams. You have Denial, who's recently made a change, getting rid of replays and adding in Classic. Like I said, we already talked about the Epsilon changes in Rise Nation. Also, getting rid of Apathy and now adding Aches. So, we've talked about Aches having a pretty big run that he always likes to really go off at the final tournament. This is going to be a very difficult pool for them already. You have Denial, you have Epsilon, very, very solid teams. And Rise Nation, if they can turn it up as well, could also be a top team, a top contender to get out of this group as well. We can't forget the pool play teams. We have some really good pool play teams coming, like Justice, DT is also a good squad. A lot of really good teams coming through the open bracket who want to get, their hands on that prize money as well. So the final team that we have in Group D for Tier 3 obviously has to be Orbit. They're the only remaining team, and they actually recently added replays to the roster in place of accuracy. So pretty good lineup so far. I gotta say, I would say the easiest pool for right now, if I was, looking at it, would be arguably between Group A and Group D. It would honestly kind of depend on who you choose between TK and Envy and XGN and Orbit. Honestly, I think TK is a pretty good team. At least they've gotten a little bit better. Envious, on the other hand, you've added Gunjar and you've added Jerd. Is that better than than Aqua and Octane in the past? Not in my opinion, but we'll move on. We got Tier 4 now to go over. We already have the top 3 tiers kind of already announced. We have one final team, or the final teams to announce from Tier 4, which obviously are Infused, Citadel, Vitality Storm, and Millennium. Some really, really good teams. Who would be going in Group A to finish us off? For Group A, it would actually be Infused. So a really, really good EU team. I believe the Infused roster is actually consisting of Marky B, PD, Zero, and Urban, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a pretty good lineup. Obviously, if you're playing Marky B, he's always a streaky guy to be playing against, and has pulled up some amazing upsets in the past with TCM and whatnot. So Infused, a very, very solid roster. That would close out Group A, but we still have 3 teams remaining. Who would be going into Pool B? That would actually be Vitality Storm. This is actually a very new roster. I think I said Vitality Storm. I meant to say just Team Vitality in general. This is a really, really good team. I think I made a video in the past talking about this squad. The squad is consisting of Tommy, Mad Cat, Swanee, and Joe. So a very, very good lineup. 2 amazing AR players, and Tommy recently switching to the SMG as well. So a very, very good team. That's going to close that Group B as well. We have 2 teams left. We have Millennium and Citadel. To be honest, probably the 2 lesser of the teams. I haven't really seen Citadel play from the AU. I don't really watch Australian Call of Duty as much as I should. I would honestly like to see some Australian Call of Duty be played, but we obviously have 1 spot remaining for Group C. Who would it be? It would actually end up being Millennium. So Millennium, obviously a very, very well-known team, led by the French monster himself, Gotaga, alongside like Reedy, Moose, and Rated. A very solid team, to be honest, but when I'm looking at Infuse, when I'm looking at Vitality, I think honestly that those teams kind of overdo Millennium in a certain way. Now, I'm not, obviously, I don't watch UK or, European Call of Duty as much as I should, and I wish I did, to be honest with you. I wish I would watch, these major tournaments to kind of know a little bit more. But from what I've seen, from what I personally think, based on previous, experience of watching these 2 teams, Infused and Vitality, I think they're going to out Millennium in a certain way if they were to play each other. And obviously that last spot would be going to Citadel, the AU team, getting placed in what I would consider the easiest out of the entire pool so far. Now, before we move on, before we kind of talk about these groups, I'm going to go and read them off really quickly. So Group A, going to be consisting of Optic Gaming, Team Caliber, XGN, and Infused. Group B, going to be consisting of FaZe, Optic Nation, Isolation Esports, and Vitality. In Group C, we have Denial, Epsilon, Rise Nation, and Millennium. And in Group D, we have Elevate, Envious, Orbit, and Citadel Gaming. Now, right now, put down in the comments, who do you guys think is the group of death, and who do you guys think is the easiest group? And let me know down in the comments as well, who do you guys think will make it out of each pool? I'm not going to give who I think will make it out of each pool. That's going to be set for another video, as well as my predictions for the MLG Worlds, which will be coming out in the coming days. Obviously, we have a little bit more time before Worlds comes out, or before Worlds happens, and I'll be uploading my recap as well as my predictions video coming in the next couple of weeks. But if I was to choose my hardest pool and my easiest pool, I gotta say, for my easiest pool, I gotta say D. I think D is honestly the easier of the pools. I'm not going to go in super depth, but I think Elevate is a really solid team, to be honest, with the recent addition of Octane in place of Classic. I think they're a really good lineup. They really have that bow play down. And Octane is a phenomenal player as well. Envy, having a lot of struggles, losing half their roster, losing Octane to a player who they really leaned on in the past. Now adding, Gunjar, who's had a very, very rough title in AW. Been on so many teams like 3's Up. I think he was on Euphorics for a while. He was on XGN. Most Wanted, I think they dropped him before he even had an event. So really tough run so far as well. I think Rise and TK, I think I just need to list off all of Gunjar's AW history for teams. But either way, a very rough title for him. We'll see how he can kind of do alongside of this envious team, with JCap and Looney and Jerd. Orbit. They're a good team. They're not my favorite team by any means, but they can definitely pull out some upsets. That roster's like Orbit. I think they have like TCM and Replays and Facento, so a pretty good lineup, but it's not the best by any means. And then you have Citadel. You know, we've seen AU teams do amazing stuff in the past. You know, they have a pretty good track record of, you know, doing some surprising things at major tournaments. So that could be the X factor. Anything could absolutely happen. I gotta say, Group D, not the group of death this time. I think that's actually going to be the easiest pool. Now time for which group I think is going to be the hardest. You know, there are some really good teams in, I want to say, B and C. Honestly, I think OG, TK, and Infused are all three really good teams. I don't want to go over this too much because I don't want to give my predictions for who I think is going to make it out of the pool. But there's always there's three really main teams that I'm looking at from some of these pools. From Group A, it'd be between TK and Infused. From Group B, it'd be between ISO and Vitality. I gotta say Group C. I don't know why. I'm really feeling Group C is going to be a difficult one. Denal recently making a change. Epsilon also making a change. Rise making a change as well. I don't know who's better, Epsilon or Rise. It could be Epsilon. Rise, you know, with the addition of Ace, could be a lot better. And we don't know too much about Millennium. I could argue Group B as well. You know, if ON turns it up in Vitality and ISO, could be even. I'm not really sure. I definitely see those four teams at the top kind of coming out of these pools. But I'm getting too far into my predictions, guys. I do apologize if this video was at all long, but I hope I did inform you guys in some way about the groups heading into the MLG World Finals. Obviously, we have a lot of insane stuff to talk about, a lot of cool series that I'm going to do heading into the World's you know, event. So hopefully if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments, like I said, which two teams you guys think will make it out of each group, as well as which group you think is the easiest and which one is the group of death. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Without further ado, I'll see you guys next time. I think a fly just flew by the camera, but I don't care. See you guys later. Have a great day. Peace out.